Well, there we see the Unicorns of Love. How must they be feeling now? They had it in the palm of their hands, but we are down to Game 5. It all comes down to this between the UOL and Roccat. Now, of course, after this, right after Game 5, we'll go over to the NALCS for Team Solomid versus Gravity, but that's not up just yet because we have Game 5. We do have to give the players some time to, well, discuss and get ready for that Game 5. That gives us some time to break down what exactly should happen. Let's look at Game 4. Let's look at picks and bans for Game 4. The Callista. The fear it's instilled in the pick and ban phase of the Unicorns of Love, if you can remember, because it's been a while ago now, it was a long game, and how long they hovered over it.
I'm just so surprised. We had to go through Game 1 and Game 2 with Callista bans on the side of Roccat, then is left open. And as a lot of people would honestly expect, we saw Unicorns talk about it. Hovered for like 40 seconds, like, should we take it? And then in the end, they're like, no, we don't grab it. We take the Elise. Roccat knew they would get the Elise, get the Callista, sorry. And it was just strange to me because normally in a best out of 5, in Game 1, you would leave Callista open and say, Vardax, do you want to play it? Let's see what you can do, and then maybe we can ban it later if we are so afraid of a certain pick. But anyway, that seems to be fixed now. For Roccat, we see Rallis and Nuke Dog late game in these fights here are the massive carries on the team. Yet Unicorns, I mean, they had this game. They're doing so many things correct in the start of the game. Whenever at least the comps are even or they have a slight advantage in the mid game, they seem to get these leads over Roccat. But then closing it out, it's just so risky for them. Like the vision control is not there to push it. They take the wrong decisions in key moments, and then we get these super late games where everything can happen.
Yeah, as an illustration, that was the 39th time this split that a team got 2 Barons, but only the 6th time that a team lost. With 2 Barons, you have an 85% possibility of winning that game if you take those 2 Barons, just exemplifying once again how the Unicorns couldn't pull the trigger, and it is also the Game 4 syndrome and being very nervous, and this is when you have to step up and keep it together.
Yeah, Unicorns just, they'll want to forget that game for so many reasons. I mean, very rarely do you get to that point, not win the game, but you just look at the team fighting towards the end. There was just not a lot of coordination, and when there was the coordination there, Power of Evil was struggling to get any kind of multi-person ults. He was having to move forward in fights into zoned areas with the gravity field, trying to get an ult, and he'd end up ulting one person, Hylissang would end up ulting one person, and at that point, you could see how far the composition was kind of lagging behind for the Unicorns. Yeah. If you're not getting a massive wombo combo, there is almost no way of winning those fights, because if Nuke Duck's not dead halfway through the fight, that's Roccat pretty much in the lead.
Yeah, and he's sitting on cleanse as well. I mean, it's almost impossible, but also the Gnar pick, which was kind of the response. Now, Nautilus has been banned away from Chachi a few times. The Maokai was picked in first rotation. I expect the same to happen here, by the way. Just Unicorns getting the Maokai this game if they want to stick to the trend so far, and I think that's smart. Remove Steve from a fairly easy-to-play champion, because, honestly, he's been struggling today. I mean, TPs have been all over the place. He's been dying quite a few times in lane. Put him on a champion where you can punish him for mispositioning, not like the Maokai who's just going to kind of run in many cases. But in these fights as well here with the Gnar, the build from Chachi was obviously very split push focused. Black Cleaver, there was a more of a Mortis, I believe, as well from him. So he wasn't really tanky enough to be a front line this late in the game.
What about a Shen?
I mean, Shen could have done it. I don't like Shen into Maokai.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Maokai will outscale it. But for the mid-game pressure, I think Shen would work great in this series, yet nobody has opted to pick him so far.
It could be an option if you say that Steve hasn't had the best series. Maybe if his Chachi feels comfortable enough. But yet, again, when it comes down to a game like this with the pressure on the line, it's also about the coaches keeping a cool head going into Game 5. Yeah,
didn't look like too much of a cool head on Yamato Cannon as he power walked his way through the curtain to go and speak with his team. But yeah, just completely parting the curtain. But going into Game 5, it's going to be Unicorns of Love on the red side again. So speaking of the Maokai, you've got a couple of options here. You either hope that Roccat don't first pick something like a Maokai, which isn't great, but it's been so influential for them in this series, and then maybe look to early rotate it for yourself, because you want the mid lane counter pick. There's not really much worth in this series of getting a counter pick, because Steve hasn't been that influential when he hasn't been on the Maokai, so get that out of there, maybe ban the Callista, don't let Roccat first pick that, and give Power of Evil something for his mid lane, and maybe that's the platform that Unicorns look to build from.
Here's the problem, though, when it comes to last picking your mid lane. Victor is in the game, and Victor is perfectly fine to blind pick. So if Unicorns are trying to build around, hey, we want this last pick for Power of Evil, Roccat is just going to be like, well, okay, we're just going to like second rotation Victor, and you can pick whatever you want. Nukedog is going to be fine. Also, they have now seen that Unicorns didn't want to first pick Kalista. They took an Elise and traded for Nidalee, which is an even trade almost. It's a fair trade for both parts. And they didn't take the Kalista first pick. So Roccat doesn't have to do it either. They can first pick a Maokai if they want to. Then they can let them get Elise, Alistar on the side of Unicorns of Love, and you can still get Kalista and, like, again, the Nidalee pick or the Rek'Sai, even a Gragas, whatever you want. There are multiple junglers right now. Or you can take the Victor in that rotation, and suddenly Unicorns might feel like they're falling a little bit behind in their pick and ban phase, just because this one pick, the Kalista one, is so annoying for them. So we could see them ban it. So far, the bans have been, again, Lulu, Fizz, and Janna every single game. Yep. So they're very clearly banning out a Juggermore composition in terms of Lulu and Janna ban. So they're respecting that Roccat can play it. And then the Fizz ban, it's a flex pick. We've seen it Steve top lane, and we've seen Nukedog play it in the past, obviously in the mid lane. So they might just stick to those bans. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. And I'm also hyped for that matchup we were looking at before, Nukedog versus Power of Evil. Nukedog has been doing phenomenally. Power, although he didn't get his shockwaves off in the end. What a matchup this has been, and we get another game of it, so it's time to settle the score. So we're going to head over to the casters and get onto the Rift.
Thank you very much. We are one game away from knowing our final semi-final contendant, and Unicorns will be on the red side again. It was being on the red side that started the losing streak. Will it be being on the red side that ends the winning streak, for better or worse?
I will have no idea until I see the draft, honestly. I really think Unicorns now have to shift. So they came in with preparation, fantastic. You know, ban the same thing twice, win twice, great. Lose once, okay, fluke. Same with Roccat, you know. Approach, try it, fails, adapt slightly, try it, fails, try something else. Unicorns need to stop banning Janna, Lulu, keep the Fizz in there, I don't care, because that's an annoying champion to deal with. But just get rid of Kalista. 4
games played, the same champions all 4 times. That Lulu, Janna, Fizz. The 2 games that Roccat have picked up victories, they've banned Nautilus, Morgana, and Irelia.
But it has been clear that Vardax, okay, not Vardax, Unicorns as a whole don't want to pick Kalista. So they're leaving it open until multiple rotations deep into the champion select. They have to sniff that out. Roccat started this series for people that only just tuned in by banning out Kalista twice himself. Then they realized, hey, perhaps we are playing a team that is 0-3 on Kalista and has left it open multiple rotations when open, and we actually have an AD carry that plays it very well. Let's play Kalista. Suddenly Roccat win 2 games.
Yep.
What's next?
I think it's a good point that you mentioned. Deciding game here. Everybody that is just joining us. So far, nothing has changed in the bans from the previous game. Roccat removed Irelia previously. They're going to remove Siva this time.
Oh, they're pressuring the AD carry pool. This forces the Unicorns to ban Kalista. They don't. And they should. I think this helps Unicorns more than it helps Roccat, in my opinion. Unicorns have to ban Kalista here and leave open Janna. There's no other solution here.
Will they do it? 10 seconds before the final ban. Kalista!
Yeah.
So what is first pick worthy for Roccat?
Roccat will likely trend towards the Elise or the Alistar, given the way the games have been played. However, Janna has entered the equation. Perhaps that is why she does well into Alistar in lane and can disengage the engage later on. We'll see Alistar without a counterpart of Kalista, obviously harder to play. Potential picks I'm looking here, maybe even Victor has had a significant role without too much counter in this series. I have Victor, Elise, that's what I'm looking at.
Alistar has not made it past the 3rd pick the entirety this series.
Yeah, usually Unicorns will now pick it up in return. However, Annie was good for Hylissang and they had complete control of the game. Just because they lost
doesn't make the champion less valuable. So for Unicorns of Love, Annie or Alistar, what do they want to deny? Jankos goes back to the Elise. It was stolen away from him in the previous game, and Horo had a pretty good early game, to be honest. He was ganking effectively, pulling the attention of the rest of the team.
Okay.
And that's a very early Varus.
Very early Varus with the Alistar though. So not having the Janna to boost up that poke. So take the Alistar away from Vander. Opening with Varus, peculiar, honestly, to go that way. Let's see why. What have the Unicorns up their sleeves? One thing that has changed is Sivir and Kalista are finally both out. This could be a flex Varus.
It could be, but I also want to highlight Nukedog ran Yasuo into Pepinero's Varus in the tiebreaker game. There's a knock-up from Braum, there's a knock-up from Maokai. If this goes mid, could go Yasuo.
Speaking about countering Varus with walls and shields that block projectiles, Hylissang was the guy that played Braum into the poke meta to counter it initially. Vander watched that game in depth and says, hey, I too can play that game. Now locks in the Braum. Fantastic champion, by the way. Underplayed in Europe. He will come out big on the world stage. China and Korea are going crazy about him. Very high in pick order. Lanes well into Alistar too with the stuns there. So that's not going to happen. That's Annie not going to make that mistake again.
Corki is available if Rolls wants to go that route. You've got some magic damage from the mid laner. If Rolls goes Corki, could open up for Jace, a Yasuo mid lane, or Rolls could go something more AD focused and allow Nukeduck just to run Victor again, he run exceptionally well.
Oh, I want to see the Yasuo and then the Riven mid counter, something crazy. I don't even know if it's a counter, but it sounds like a...
It sounds like it.
It's melee against melee, not melee. Alright. Double knock-up setup for the Yasuo, as you said, but just that is very heavy melee range composition though. You're outranged by a significant margin. And you get sieged on pretty hard because you have no wave clear if you go for the Yasuo combo. Unless you can rotate your AD carry mid with a lot of wave clear. That could be the Corki that you were talking about. Corners of Love. I want to see this Varus be flexed. I want to see it come out in mid. Tribute to Yellow Pete and Genja back in the day.
Nukeduck could also run Corki mid like he did earlier in the series.
Or just Kog'Maw mid. AP Kog'Maw. This is technically a double flex. We don't know what's going mid.
Do they lock it in though? That's the question. 5 seconds left. This is game 5 in the quarterfinal. Cog and Corki.
So Roccat tell Unicorns we're gonna run poke in the mid lane and it'll be magic damage based, but which one?
Yeah.
Perhaps Roccat don't even know it yet either.
There would be a hint of beautiful irony if an AP Cog is what sends Unicorns of Love out of the playoffs, considering Power of Evil's love for the champion.
They're hovering mid lane champion, so this may actually be the Varus and...
Well, you know what's even smarter? Siva's banned, Kallista's banned, take 2 AD carries. What's left for Vardax?
Perhaps... Oh. Ooh. Perhaps it was predicted all along. Is this Unicorns... Who's mind gaming who at this point? I mean, Vardax has played a lot of Jinx back in the day, but playing Jinx into Braum, Maokai, and having to get to Kog'Maw...
Just as a note,
tough task.
0-3 on Jinx in the summer
Varus
split.
AD carry, because this may have not been the preconceived plan by Unicorns of Love, but at least it was the option, because now they can go Orianna mid, shield up against the poke, and find an opening. Roccat with a very interesting double poke composition. Not quite traditional. They have up until 20 seconds by LCS regulations to switch the champions in their final positions.
15 seconds before we see that rounding out. For Unicorns of Love, they have poke, they have team fights, they have wave clear. There's a lot of options they can do, but they have a low mobility mid and AD carry.
Honestly, I think the Corki mid is the better approach. I think Braum, Kog'Maw is a very strong lane. Because you can proc those Braum passives if you connect the Q from Braum and you apply that 4 double shot that you need to proc very easily with the massive range that Kog'Maw has. Past 20 seconds, it's going to be Kog'Maw AD carry. That lane scales very beautifully until level 6. Safe all-in potential, I'm going to call it. And yeah, medium range here. And good zone control then on the side of the Unicorns. Again, this may be a matchup where we're going to see a lot of dragon fights. A little slower though. Every time we've played AD Kog'Maw on the side of Roccat, they've lost 0-2 in the series so far because they lost the lane pressure. Can they pressure the bot lane right now?
We'll find out, because Roccat did build that full AD mid lane. It was Triforce into Blade of the Ruined King.
But it's still not full AD because it's a Corki.
Yeah. Mixed AD. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the last time I will ask you to do this tonight. It is game 5 of the series. Roccat or Unicorns of Love? Who will advance to the semi-finals and to Stockholm, Sweden? Hit us up on Twitter and let us know.
All right, Cleanse this time on Power of Evil. I like this adaptation. I think it's absolutely necessary to run Cleanse into Braum and Elise. Pander with the Ignite. Hylissang with the Ignite. Normal summoners across the board. Nukeduck could go for an aggressive play with this Ignite here in the mid lane. Now, who pushes who? Nukeduck should push mid, I think, with the Corki, early pressure. Corki, Braum. Kog'Maw Braum rather into Varus, Alistar tricky. Interesting level 2 spike with Alistar. The Gnar Maokai matchup, that takes us back way time ago.
That's sure. Talking about the lanes, Crepo, where do you feel the pressure's going to lie? Who's going to have opportunities here? Jankos and this Elise with some tower diving power. Especially if you combo with Maokai, you can drop aggro quickly. Horo,
Yeah,
we know how strong Nidalee can be, so, you know, in terms of the lanes, which jungler's going to have more options?
Yeah, and the 2v2 in top lane, that's also something you have to factor in, and especially Yamato Cannon as a coach does it. When you watch his VOD reviews very often of TSM series over in North America, he keeps talking about the strength of the 2v2 duo in the top lane. The CC is obviously advantageous to Steve and Jankos with at least, you know, Cocoon into Twisted Advance knockout, but the sheer amount of damage on Gnar and Nidalee could prove quite cumbersome to deal with. Vander on that Braum is actually a fantastic roamer because he can send out the Q slows and then all you need is a couple autos. He's going in for an invade.
And look at the
spotted.
Lane.
Is he going to steal it?
What potential is it? Wow, flash steal for Jankos.
I think that's worth it. I think that's legit worth it because you now pressure two members of Unicorns of Love. They're all the way at the wrong part of town. They need to get out of there, go to the other side of the jungle. Momentum on the side of Roccat. Look, these guys are still level 1. And they won't see each other again until 4 minutes from now when that flash is back up.
Adaptation, reaction, implementation. That's what Roccat have done this series. They dropped 2 games.
Oh, and look what, in reaction to that, Vander is basing. He's going to defend the bottom lane tower because that's pushing, and this will allow Steve to soak up some dual lane farm, base, and then teleport. And now they're going for the Maokai Braum dual lane in the bot lane, and they're letting 80 Kog'Maw rather in the top lane scale with levels. Very quick level 6. Obviously, Hylissang on Alistar can't really deny all too well because he's a melee range support. The better strategical adaptation, however, this opens up for a 4v0 dive, so this wave has to be thinned out as soon as we can.
Find out if Roccat can do that. Level 1 still on Chachi. Horo just got level 2 after clearing out Crab. This ward was placed in the jungle of Roccat by UOL. Hylissang moved up, and they're going to at least steal Rockat's red. Remember, Jankos took UOL's red previously, and Mr. Rolls has been left alone in the top lane for 3.5 minutes. He's soaking solo XP.
Now Jankos is a little caught though. He went back to his jungle, then went back to the enemy jungle. He's going back to his jungle, says nope, going back to the river, and I'm going back to the enemy jungle. So,
Jankos,
not quite sure. A bit in flux. Is like, what he's trying to prevent is Chachi teleporting to the top lane to soak that wave. He's setting up a potential dive. Now Vander wants to find Chachi, confirm that he's still level 2. Nuktak's here too.
Oh, this is an AD carry and support versus a jungler.
Stun could be good here. One more auto.
Stun's not going to connect on Mega Gnar.
But they're buying time for this top lane wave to be pushed in. Almost in the tower. It's getting in there right now, so that's what they're doing.
And look how starved Chachi's been of farm. 3 CS. Unicorns are going to invest a lot into this tower dive. They've caught Steve out. Vander has got the Unbreakable, but he doesn't have stand behind me. He can't increase the defenses, and Chachi gets first bloods.
It's simply not wide enough. The shield, of course, from Vander. Fighting them in the minions here.
Oh, now Vander, he's in trouble. He's going to ignite forward. Vander's got 1. Now he's trying to get away. The Hyper's going to proc. Vander's trying to get backwards. Tower hit, connects with Horo.
Oh, he's dead.
Horo's in
Who's going to get the buff?
Form. Who gets the kill? Going to go to Horo. And Vardax tanks the shot. That was well executed.
Yeah, good dive. No panic there. Unbreakable, obviously, makes the first damage instance applied upon you 0 damage. And the next one gets reduced. Blocks all projectiles at the same time. That was Vander's goal there. He was goalkeeping. There were too many strikers at different sides. Just couldn't get those projectiles blocked. Very close, and Steve ended up dying there. What a fantastic start.
We're 5 minutes in, Crepo. Unicorns of Love have secured 2 kills.
PoE? I guess he's just waiting.
And PoE's down 10 CS to the early pressure of Nuktak's AD carry Corki.
If you wonder why PoE was... It looked like he was tabbed out and chatting to somebody, but what he actually was doing was just not revealing on that mid lane ward. Just denying information to Roccat. Small things like this just mean a lot later in the game, because that could be like, okay, damn, he's gone. He's just, you know, roaming. He's doing wolf something. Just ends up revealing himself when he needs to. Steps into the limelight right there. Vander, very roam-heavy approach this game.
as has Hylissang, actually. Both of these supports moved around a lot over the course of the series, rather. And with all the movements going on, Vardex and Hylissang have now swapped up top. They are going to be met by Mr. Riles and Vander. You can see Jankos also moving top. Chachi finally got some farm down bottom. And we've got these Australia lanes, if you will.
Yeah, the same, but upside down. Vardex has a tier build, though. Nothing's going to come out of this one, but very scale-heavy build on the side of Unicorns. Orianna, Power People has gone tier 2 on Orianna. Went Dean's last game. They're trying to find Steve here. Steve has gotten better at dodging these ganks. We'll likely go sampling soon.
You had to say it. You had to say he gets caught.
Has gotten.
There we go. Mega Gnar should pop. May lead into a wallop. Wait, Mega Gnar, they're going to go for the dive. Flash forward for Horo. Third kill.
Yeah, really good at... Horo is excelling at these aggressive junglers, more so than Jankos had this series. Pee is checking, finds Nuktok. That's all he needs to do. Make sure Nuktok isn't roaming top lane. Get that information. He's playing from behind, but that's fine. His team is winning the side lanes. Look, that tower is melting up in the top lane. Jankos couldn't find that same opening that Horo just did in the bot lane. But the bot lane for Roccat, now in the top lane, is scaling pretty well.
Tower gets denied. Hylissang may find himself stunned here by those concussive blows. Is Kortak? It's a cocoon, and Jankos sinks the fangs. Teleports coming in from Chachi, instantly hopping away. Decides he doesn't want this fight. Maybe to defend the tower. They're in a 3v2.
Yeah, that's fine. They can hold that wave easy peasy, but good counterplay on the top side of the map from Roccat. Unicorns, however, have the tower advantage, and that's exactly what separates them. 1,000 gold during this matchup. Power Eagle under pressure, but not losing his tower at all. Good CSing by Nuktok, though. 68.
Wow, he shockwaves PoE. Here comes Horo. By the way, Horo's got Runeglaive completed already.
No flash on Horo.
No flash. Pounces up, not going to get used. By the way, yeah, as we mentioned, Runeglaive already completed thanks to 2 kills and an assist. So Horo should be able to just...
Hylissang joining, they're threatening the dive. They just want to remove the wave clear from Nuktok, but still has enough mana. Vander joins in. Very, very turbulent early game right here.
This game could be determined by how effective the support's roams are. This vote started heavily in favor of the Unicorns of Love, and now Roccat. Roccat have the vote. Yamato.
That was like a golf clap. It's like, oh, fantastic, 1% win.
Do you see Yamato going crazy? His power walk is the most dramatic thing we've seen him do. But Crepa, I want to mention as we see the lanes shuffling, this series, Unicorns of Love have secured 13 dragons to Rockat's 12. This series, Unicorns of Love have secured 5 barons to Rockat's 4.
But everything
They're
that
so
counts
even.
in the end is Unicorns of Love secured 2 Nexi. So did Roccat.
But it is the 3rd Nexi that counts. Yeah. Nexus, I guess, in this scenario.
I wonder if Nuktok got an extra 50 gold from that Nexus. That would have meant that he had even more gold to upgrade his trinket.
Oh, Steve. He's got Flash. He's got Vengeful Maelstrom. Chachi's going to time the gank once again. Horo and Chachi should be able to run him down. Runeglaive. Oh! You actually increased the damage, my friend.
Yeah. Don't ever flash in a straight line against Spears. Hylissang, Deja Vu on the other side of the map. He gets broke by Braum, gets stunned.
Concussive blows connects Vander, even turns his focus to Vardex. Ooh. Great heads-up play. 200 HP, but it's Jankos that gets the kill credit. Nuktak was trying to get an assist.
That could have been 2 kills there, though, if that concussive blow connected on Vardex, but he's obviously still had flash. Chachi, they kill Steve and they take his tower. They did it in the bot lane. They're doing it in the top lane right now. Will Steve ever go mid? Because then mid lane tower can get down too.
Steve's first game in the LCS ever was on a Hecarim with no flash, and he got camped heavily. Now this could be the last game in playoffs, and he's being camped heavily.
I guess that is just how the cookie crumbles.
A long way from finalizing that storyline, Crepo. But Chachi's going to secure the 2nd tower of the game for the Unicorns of Love with a gentlemanly headbutt. Gentleman. Okay, well, the minion will do it then. Fine. Make me a liar, Chachi.
1.2k gold in the lead, Unicorns of Love. 2 towers to 1. Failed combo by Hylissang. That's a lot of damage. Denied on Nuktok there. Power Eagle eating some poke. Yeah, a lot of action. Last game was very, very tempered. Teams were hesitant. Now back to action here. Very turbulent early game. Towers gone down left and right. Lane swaps sped up early approach. Both supports, Moby Boots roaming. However, Vander has more kills that he's involved in, so he has Sightstone. Can he translate that vision to get the gold even?
Big difference in itemization as well. Chachi has opted for a Black Cleaver first, which is not what he did in the previous matchup. Went a lot tankier, went for Black Cleaver as his third or fourth item. And maybe
because he's winning so hard. He wants to get the snowball going because he needed his jungler to kill Steve. Now he can itemize in such a fashion that he will no longer need to. So then, in turn, means that Steve will need his jungler to defend against Chachi. Otherwise, Chachi will take down these towers. More towers down. Unicorns have shown that with a gold lead and more towers on the map, they excel at playing the map. Chachi's level 8 right now. Already. Highest in the game,
difference.
almost. Evil is slightly ahead. Remember, he came out of a lane swap, so to be doing this well.
Mega Gnar is very close here for Chachi. He's going to get dove. Cocoon connects. He hops. He crunches. He's going to go Mega in a moment. Flash defensively.
Stun.
He even gets the wallop. There's a Gnar available, but it's not enough. Mr. Rolls gets his second kill of the game.
And this is why I like Braum so much as a sport. Just apply your passive once and your teammates can provide a CC for themselves. However, he buys enough time to trade mid lane tower for tier 1 on the top lane. But Rawless picks up that kill and the tower here. He's well on his way for Triforce Spike. His gold lead is even.
Ooh, that was scary. Nukeduck realizes the mistake. Defensive flash at the threat of a pulverize. Unicorns of Love, 1 tower ahead, 200 gold ahead, but even on kills.
Triforce finished already 12 minutes, 30 seconds into the game.
Wow.
For Mr. Rawls. That is a big spike. Look at Vardax, however. He has tier brutalizer. He's like, guys, I'm freezing this wave. I need about 25 minutes and I'll come out swinging. It's like, it's not like we're facing the most like well-scaling AD carry on our side that actually has an early game power spike, which is kind of, you know, contradictory to itself. Kog'Maw scales so well, but he's also a Triforce carry. Obviously, he needs to have a weakness somehow. That is very low mobility. Now, Vander, they see a freeze in the top lane. That means Dragon should be yours. 5 against 4, especially with such a heavy spike in the middle. And Nukeduck has to be basing on a lot of gold here because he's sitting on Phage, Components, and Sheen. Finished instant Triforce. Double Triforce spike at 13 minutes into the game. This is big.
If Horo is unable to flank and kill somebody quickly, either Nukeduck or Rawls, there's so much damage on those 2 Triforces.
Yeah, I actually think lane swapping with a double Triforce comp is incredibly smart because you speed up the global gold, but it obviously works more in favor of those with the earliest spike. Especially if you then start camping for the lane that gets less gold. You know, it's harder for AD carries to farm in lane swaps. It's a good approach by Roccat. I wonder if that was planned or just, you know, adaptation within the moment. But right now they're sitting on 2 Triforces. If they can group mid, while Vardax was slow pushing out top lane, they can actually siege his tower even into an Orianna already because Vander can block the wave with his shield.
Such aggressive posturing, and Vander does that exactly. Vardax, however, is able to get to the mid lane and will push the wave back. This game is still balancing on a knife edge. Dragon will be up in a few minutes. UOL secured the first one uncontested, but I heavily doubt Roccat will give up another, considering the strength of the composition right now.
Yeah, but you can't just all siege from the front. This is not going to work. It's too hard to make this happen. This is why we see people flanking. Get some vision left and right, steal some raptors, steal some wolves, get some advantage from forcing, you know, you're hurting the cattle under that tower. Just keep them there and then steal away their food while they're not watching. That's the approach Roccat wants to take here. Unicorns, they're hanging on though. They're scaling Athenes and Tier on Power of Evil. So
that's the traditional build, we know.
That is the biggest disparity in power levels in the early to mid game we've seen this entire series. As we go on for fighter on the blue buff, Horo gets it, he gets out.
Hylissang may not be able to. Well, he's got his flash actually.
He's out. So somehow, as we're talking about this power disparity, Unicorns of Love managed to secure and steal a blue buff away from 2 champions that are very reliant on it, Kog'Maw and Corki. But just in terms of stats, some items give you more stats as you complete it compared to the gold put in. Triforce is an incredibly stat efficient item. Tier obviously scales, so you lose 2 tiers worth, which is 1.4k gold on combat stats, whereas you're fighting against 2 guys that build a Triforce, which spike in terms of gold efficiency, and then at the same time you're actually still staying ahead in gold and map control. That is impressive from the Unicorns.
Needs to equate to more control as this game plays out, because Roccat have the opportunity to punish harder.
One of the main reasons is because Chachi is ahead of Steve. And he built very early spikes, split push, control, bait people there. As long as they're dealing with Chachi instead of these weaker members of the Unicorns, that buys them time to get into the early and mid game. It secures the first Dragon too. That buys them time to fight against potential Aspect. We've seen these games go long. Aspect will likely be on the board again this match.
At least as a threat, albeit it hasn't been secured necessarily. Horo's going for a little bit more AP as well as that Ruby Crystal. So more options where he's going to go. And Vardag's pickaxe as well. So despite being down in CS, he's, as you mentioned, 22 minutes away from having a big impact in this game.
T-minus 20 minutes, boys. But yeah, Horo again, offensively positioning, posturing, ganking, and itemizing because, again, he needs forward pressure because we've seen this before in the series. If you lean back too much, you will fall over. Just got to stay on one leg at least.
It's going to be more difficult now. Steve has the engage power of a Righteous Glory. He has teleport as well. I'm going to state the obvious for a moment and say that Horo is really showing some impressive games this series. There was a little bit of questions and doubts on what level of coordination would they have because he replaced Gilius not too long ago. And Unicorns look better in almost every regard.
And last split, he was on the worst team in the spring split. Dropped out, auto-relegated. But it's good to find these good players in these worst teams. And sometimes you can even have a team with 5 good players that somehow just don't make it work. And once they split up, look at various members of the old Evil Geniuses in NA that split up. Altec, Pobelt, they're all in good teams right now. Just couldn't quite make it work there.
Sometimes the synergy just doesn't work out. Crepo.
Same thing here for Horo. Fantastic performance though. Said, Jankos, I've seen your release, I could do better. So if I've seen you in Italy, I'm doing better this game. Jankos hasn't done bad by no means.
Yeah.
Horo has just excelled.
Just looked even better. Dragon has spawned, and Unicorns have got control.
That's the one thing. Jankos has been buying a lot more side stones, so Unicorns love. The burden of their vision has been solely put on Hylissang.
Teleport from Steve directly into the pit. Unicorn's going to back away.
Chachi is pushing. They're trading tier 2 tower for this Dragon. They just want to stall the retreat right now. Potential steal with Spear.
No, not this time. Blue team actually secured it, so Jankos maybe miss-smiting it. Chachi's going to go Mega Gnar. Thanks that tower push. Tad riskier. We'll see if he can... how much damage he can get.
Black Cleaver Gnar does a lot of damage and is safe because they're still basing. There's no home guards yet because it's early into the game.
And look middle as well, Crepo. UOL. They're going to take advantage of the backs from Roccat.
And not only can Chachi push this in, he can then turn into a flank in the mid lane. Panda, he can block some things. That tower goes down. I think this is the correct approach from Unicorns. Because 5 dragons for Unicorns is not the win condition they're looking for. Opening up the map, getting more global gold, getting quicker to that late game that they're building is what they're looking for. Because we've already passed the power spike of the Triforce. Additional global gold is more beneficial for Unicorns right now than it is for Roccat.
And all of that time allows both tier users of Power of Evil and Vardags to continue stacking. That Man Immune slowly growing. Tier towards Archangels slowly building up. So UOL...
PoE has a late tier though. He finished teams first, I believe, and then went for the tier because it's only on 220 stacks right now. So that is miles away. Same for Vardags. He's sitting at 312. It's Man Immune right now.
Play for the late game, boys. We're approaching 20 minutes, and UOL maintain the gold lead thanks to the tower lead.
All right, what's next on the menu? We've seen this before in the series. It all goes fine and dandy until you run out of towers to take. Yeah. And then it's hard to play out the map. But the series so far has been played on 2 lanes every game. Mid and top lane. Bot lane has, for the majority, been ignored, or it becomes mid and bot lane, top lane ignored. This is the first time we've seen one of these teams enter into a potential 1-3-1, or at least a split push, heavy split push component on their top laner with the Black Cleaver Gnar build. And I really want to see, have Unicorns practice this? Is this an adaptation, a reaction? And how will it manifest in the mid game? We have 20 minutes on the clock right now. 2K ahead of the Unicorns, who traditionally are behind at this point.
Vizichachi's sitting on 2,000 gold. And that's his lead over Steve. Steve just cracked the 5K mark. You can see 7-3 there. Chachi's just picked up a Hex Drinker as well. So heavily committed to this damage 1v1. But as you say, Crepo, we need to see, can he challenge more inner turrets?
Yeah, and that's a problem. If you play Maokai in a lane stop and you fall behind, Usually you're tanking and can engage. Now Steve specs heavily into the engage, which is Righteous Glory, but he has nothing to back that up. He will connect Twisted Advance and melt immediately. He's a glorified support at this point due to the way this game has played out. Yes, he can open up the game by connecting with Vardex or Power of Evil, but he has to make damn right that he does it at the exact right time, the exact right frame, or he will just cost him his life.
Chachi.
Yeah, this is the 1v1 potential of Vizichachi, of course.
And of course, the threat of Mega Knight in the jungle. Nobody from Roccat wants to toy with that. Crepo, Archangels was just completed for PoE, so at least it'll stack towards Seraphs a little quicker. But Horror's also committed to that late game itemization because he's got himself a Rod of Ages at 20-ish minutes. So.
But now last game we had Nukeduck on 1038 AP, I still remember it. And he had the late game, but if his game keeps going slow, then Corki will fall off tremendously hard compared to Orianna because he doesn't have that spike. Elise has been falling off in this series too. Nidalee scales slightly better in the damage department. Obviously, Elise has more CC available. So everything will be on Mr. Rawls, on his Kog'Maw. Back to the first two games, he has to carry these fights.
All right, Chachi's picked the fight with Steve, but the support coming in. Here comes Rawls. He's going to land a living artillery. Actually, it won't. Boydus will come out, slow Chachi down. Chachi's just gone, starting to stack up. We are going to see that smash. Here comes some support. Vander was getting chunked by Horo, but Chachi goes down. And it goes to Steve, the man who had been kept down most of the game.
And this is the correct counter to split push. You group on the laner that is split pushing and you force them to fight because they will build for 1v1s and they will therefore by proxy be weaker in team fights, in multiple team-oriented fights. Hylissang finds Jankos, knocks him back, he repels upwards, backwards, he's out. But pressure from the Unicorns in return while people are basing on the side of Roccat.
3 members of Unicorns have upgraded their trinkets already.
Fantastic.
We will track if Nukeduck upgrades his, if at all.
Just to spite me. He'll sell it at the end of the game. Try and track me now.
So Crepo, previous dragon was secured by Roccat. It cost him a tower. It's minutes until it respawns. There's a Blade of the Rune King for Mr. Rawls and a BF sword for Nukeduck as well.
I wonder what this build is going towards from PoE though, because these, you know, replacement items like Athenes and Archangels, they slow your core items, which is like Rabadons and Void Staff on most of the mages. And with that Amp Tome picked up on PoE, it looks like he's going for a third item, Rylai's. So if it's for a mana-heavy, slow control mage in the mid-game.
Could also build into Death Cap as well.
Yeah.
BF and Blasting Wand. All that extra cost. But a lot of options, a lot of time to figure it out. We've not mentioned Vardag's build yet either, for a little while at least. Got that Brutalizer. Got the makings of a Last Whisper, so still building similarly to what you would on mid lane Varus.
Yep. But he wants to scale, honestly, on that Varus, because Varus kind of falls off against the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maws are stronger, so this build obviously scales very well into the late game. Poke, Hylissang flash.
Wow.
Combo. Is this Baron from behind? Slightly, yeah, 3-man.
It's completely blind.
Oh, they have no clue this is going. This will be Baron for the Unicorns. Fantastic adaptation and the bravado to do this in a 5th game of a best-of-5 series.
25 minutes in.
Oh, look at the faces. I want to watch the cams for Roccat right now.
Pay careful attention. On this patch, it's a global noise. Roccat will know.
Oh, they know right now.
Oh, Steve. It's secured. Steve is going to look for an engage. He's managed to catch out Hylissang. Vander will connect with the Winter's Bite. Losing a support for Baron? Sorry, Crepo, but I trade you any day of the week.
Yeah. I would do the Darren in a team and we'd come out together. I thought we were a team, Trevor.
Power of Evil.
Power of Evil gets choked out here in the mid lane, but yeah, to flash in for that Baron, that is confidence in your vision control. That's what I like seeing. You know why that happened? Because they upgraded their trinkets, Trevor. Can't Not really, because it's because they had a pink ward. But yeah, fantastic Baron by the Unicorns, and this is also because Chachi has this very offensive build with that, you know, Black Cleaver. Makes it a lot easier. Tanking, obviously Alistar is one of the best supports for Baron because you just pop your ulti. You do more damage to it and you can soak up so much damage, and to do this 23 minutes in the game reminds me of Fnatic, honestly.
Talisman of Ascension completed for Hylissang. Early Baron for UOL, Last Whisper,
and more global gold. More global gold for these slow scaling carries that were just distracting Roccat in the mid lane. It looked like they were fighting for farm. No, I want to stack my tier quicker. No, I want to stack my tier quicker. Nope. They get the Baron, and now they can keep pushing. However, they're not looking to split push. They're grouping on Chachi here. Stopping
giant minion wave
support system here. They see the ward.
Tower should be uncontested. I can't see Roccat defending this.
It's gonna melt. You need more than one unbreakable shield right there, Vander, if you want to stop that massive minion wave.
Grouping is the name of the game, despite having such a strong split pusher. There's a minion wave pushing into UOL up top. Look at the mini-map. Someone has to go deal with that. I'd like to see Chachi continue play the
I mean, you don't have to. You can
champion.
legit just straight up group in the mid lane and say, okay, we don't care about some damage on our tier 2. We're going for that mid lane. Yeah, Power of Evil. He went from 300 stacks on that tier incredibly quickly to that Archangels right now. Because he has so much mana regen, he can continuously keep casting his spells over and over again. See, double mana build. Very good at scaling.
200 mana away before Vardex can upgrade to that Mirror mana. Although, truthfully, he's got the core of what Varus needs. Cooldown reduction and armor penetration.
Yep, and CDR, more importantly. His piercing arrows are already on a 6-second cooldown.
And when you look at the squishies on Roccat, there's not a lot of armor on Nukeduck or Rolls. And if one of them goes down, it's going to be difficult against the damage sources of Chachi, PoE, and Vardex. If they trade like a PoE for a Nukeduck, there's still 2 damage sources from UOL. That's how they can win team fights.
Yeah, and you don't even have to trade. It's going to be almost a mistake to trade PoE for that Nukeduck. And even then, even if they make that mistake, they're still fine. The thing that strikes me the most is that this is a mixture between the new Unicorn and the old one. Yes, they play scaling compositions into the late game, but they're no longer waiting for it to scale. They have this super aggressive jungler that can find these openings and these kills across the map. They play their lane swap correctly. Their shot calling has been superior in the early to mid game. More foresight, more proactivity coming out of the Unicorns of Love, and I wonder if that's all to their jungler, Horo.
And the practice between week 9 and now quarterfinals. 2 weeks off, a stable patch for anybody that may have missed. We're on 514. We will be on 514 for all of the players, including North America, which will start once the series ends. Thank you for tuning in and watching. And sorry to TSM and Gravity. I can only imagine how tense they must be waiting to play their own quarter. Or how intense our teams are figuring out who's going to close this game out. Because UOL had a similar lead in the previous game.
Yeah, this time composition and just the state of the game makes it a lot easier for them. They can go back to that Baron and do it so easily. They have so much punish for face check right now. If you walk into this team, imagine if the vision is dark, which it is right now. Roccat have one lone pink ward for the hero's flank from Steve. No home guard still. Finished Frozen Heart. Can get in there, but he has to get by Horo poke, Power of Evil poke, and his armor that he has will get shredded. Both by the Black Cleaver and pierced by Vardex. Chachi connects. So what we said. Gets help from his jungler, gets ahead. Now the jungler needs to come to help Steve in return. This opens up man advantage in the mid lane. Unicorns of Love, they're not sieging, they're waiting. 1 minute to Baron, that's what they're waiting for. Or to Dragon rather.
Legitimate
Baron
threat as well.
Later.
Cripper, we could see a team fight. We're definitely going to see it now. Horo got caught by the Cocoon. He manages to flash defensively. Helisag's thrown down Unbreakable Will. He commits to try disengage. Will lose his life.
Yeah. Chachi's flanking. Mistake from the Unicorns. Good opening from Roccat. They know when to bite. Flash Cocoon.
Flash Cocoon! Vardex will fall! Mr. Rolls gets his 3rd kill of the game.
Has to cleanse.
Is it going to be a stun? One more hit, it's all needed. Power of Evil's down. Roccat with 30 seconds until Dragon. They win a team fight.
And they even bring their one-man cheerleading squad in a suit. Yamato Cannon gets hyped. 2,000 gold remain the difference, but one tower is looking to fall. Fantastic fight. This is why I like Rom. You put the passive on him, he cleanses. They still get stunned right after. However, you have to cleanse the soul from the Braum Q. Vardex gets caught by Flash Cocoon. Should have just preemptively flashed that. And just no respect from Unicorns. They lose their jungler. Watch how Horo gets caught right here. All they have to do is bide their time, move up the Orianna ball. Fantastic. Is it going to be a Cocoon? And Horo was caught earlier, actually. This is the Flash Cocoon on Vardex. Yeah, Vardex still flashes at the end. And cleanses the passive, but the mark stays on you. One more auto, flash auto from Nukeduck. And I really like Braum into these compositions that can gap close forward. So you apply the passive, They flash out, or they gap goes out, you Valkyrie after, or you flash after yourself. Eventually, you need to count to 4. He gets stunned, get the kill.
Vardex could have flashed Cocoon. Power of Evil could have flashed Winter's Bite.
Yeah.
The thing is, the gold lead...
Shoulda. If.
Here we go. Hindsight is 2020. Both used flash after and still died. But you cannot discount the level of pressure that Vizichachi is applying. He's got a very big CS lead, he's got a very big itemization lead, and he actually maintained pressure on that top lane the entire time.
And look at the score though for Vander right here, 1-1 and 8. There's 9 kills on the board for Roccat. He's involved in all of them. Disengages Healer-Sang right here.
That's a great knockout! Better Shockwave! Unicorns of Love bounce back and say, screw that! They get themselves 3. They get themselves another tower shortly. And Baron's alive as well.
They can go for the inhibitor or they can peel back for the Baron. The choice is theirs. Steve and Nuke are alive. Poke from Corki could keep them off. Powerville, you were right. He finished that Rabazon Death's Cap. Now, building out of the fantastic Amp Tome instead.
Unicorns
and they have the shield from Orianna to keep them alive. Watch Nukta, can he poke them off? 6k, 5k, it's dropping quickly.
Might be too late. Steve and Nukta gonna do what they can. A sapling will give some vision. Baron's down to 1.5 and Roccat wisely back out. Baron number 2 in game number 5 goes to the Unicorns of Love.
Let's watch that again.
I hope they go slow-mo.
All come to be. Look at the disengage though, into the choke point. Hillsang's flash gets countered, but Jankos gets too close. He wants to trade, and that costs him his team's life. He proxies the knockup into the Orianna ball. Jankos steps forward and he wants to get his QW trade, but this puts him in headbutt range. Obviously, once the headbutt connects, Pulverize goes on 3 members instead. Hillsang had already flashed at this point and gotten disengaged by the Braum ultimate. And that's what we talked about. It can be this close. And again, I'm putting my fingers very close to each other right now. You can't see this. Trevor can vouch for this. It can be oh so close, and that is the difference. But just wanting that additional extra trade to proxying the combo to 2 of your teammates.
And you compare Power of Evil's Orianna in the previous game, not able to find those shockwaves, to this game.
It is slightly easier to shockwave 3 knocked up targets when a Gnar is putting them in the wall too. But doesn't matter how you do it, just matters that you find them.
Send them home. Vizichachi continues to play pressure on the top lane. He's picked himself up a Thornmail against 2 AD carries.
It's so hard to deal with that. You just have to commit more members to it. It is impossible to deal with it 1v1. Like the relenting pressure right there is just too much.
Crepo.
Plus Baron, if they go 1-3-1, if they send Horror to the bot lane right now to buff those creeps, keep Ori in the mid lane, prevent the hard engages, counter flashes, who can get me? Stay away from that target. They're not gonna do it though, they're looking for a 4-1 siege, double poke, Nidalee Varus, zone control from Orianna. Look at Chachi right now, how is he whittling on that top lane tower?
Well, Unicorns of Love putting pressure in 2 lanes again. Got their second Baron of the game.
Vander's playing catch though, he caught the arrow, caught some of the skill shot, the spears too.
Can't catch them all though, sadly.
If you get caught a lot in Soul Q, Braum might be the champion for you. Put your skills to the test. Block those skill shots.
As long as you have the cooldown. There's that top lane tower. Steve. Look at it, what's 30% of the HP missing?
Yeah, this has to go quicker though for the Unicorns. Chachi gets caught, he's out, so he's not gonna push next wave. I really think they should have 1-3-1. That's what you do though. Braum cannot be in 2 places at the same time. Therefore you split push.
Well,
finally opened up there, he got poked out.
Look at the damage on this tower. Unicorns with their 8k gold lead, with their second Baron, are sieging up. Teams that get 2 Barons actually win 85% of the games. There are exceptions to that rule. Roccat proved that in game 4 of this very series, and they'll need to do it again.
Baron buff is close to expiring though. Look at the comeback mechanics. How is Unicorns gonna mess this one up potentially? Can Roccat flank with Steve? Can we get a flash Braum Q, flash Braum ulti? Nuke's out, Baron buff's out.
Look at this. Roccat looking to engage. Hillsang's gonna get cocooned, he's gonna get stunned. Piercing arrow comes through onto Mr. Rawls.
Horo's out of mana. It's the last spear he throws for a while.
If UOL can crack open the base, they do it on 2 lanes. But they may have been too greedy. Roccat hold and defend both lanes. And you do see a shockwave onto Vander and engage from Hillsang. Vardex gets the kill credit. Nukeduck's trying to force PoE away.
And that's not the wrong approach. They just have to get rid of Vander. He's blocking all these kill shots. He is involved in every kill that Roccat has managed to procure, and so far he's been defending this mid lane tower on his own merit. Steve's holding Chachi off well, but there's 20% remaining. Chachi says, stop this, I'm gonna get this tower.
Gonna get the tower as well. That's it. 3 minutes of sieging. Chachi now wants to try and make his way out. Gonna get caught by a cocoon, but he's broken it up, and while that happened, inhibitor down as well. UOL. All the ingredients are here. Sheepy, the rest of the UOL fan base.
There is a saying in Dutch, giving somebody a cookie of their own dough. That is what Unicorns of Love are doing to Steve right now. Big lead. They get that dragon as well. Aspect is now off the board. That was one of the comeback mechanics / win condition for Roccat. They're sitting on 3 dragons. Next Baron will be big. Next Baron bait, fundamental to closing out this game right now. Middle lane is open, you can push that in. Top lane is exposed. So Steve was fighting 1v2 because he had a tower defending him. He no longer has that tower. So have to make it a fair fight, 1v1. Banner of Command gets buffed in the bot lane because they're going to rotate to the top lane, get deep vision control, secure the Baron. And they're looking to close out game 5. This quarterfinal right here.
Super minions in the middle lane. Banner of Command minion in the bottom lane. Luckily for Roccat, they have 2 80 carries in Corki and Cogmore, both with Infinity Edges, Triforces, both with some sustain. But they cannot be a millimeter out of position. Because if one of them goes down, Chachi, PoE, and Vardex can finish it.
This game is in critical mass right now. The problem is they have to path through these choke points. Double sweeper gets used. Oracle's lens popped on Vander as well, so vision control, they're fighting for it. There's a teleport coming out from Steve. They're looking to collapse on the top lane. He has to have home guards. He does.
He's running
this has
real
to be
quick.
Vander, Q flash on Power of Evil.
Vander, that's a great chain of corruption. It's not going to catch Steve. Steve's going to flash. He used his Righteous Glory. Hillesang's trying to disengage. The Glacial Fissure comes down. Power of Evil and Vardex are getting run down. Vardex will be going down. It's Nukeduck that gets the kill. Hillesang will follow suit, but look at the bottom lane. Visit Chachi may get himself a tower and more. Recalls coming out.
Stop the bases.
From Roccat, the rest of UOL trying to stop it. They won't be able to. Chachi will get an inhibitor.
But he can't deal with Chachi. Chachi can even pressure this longer. If Unicorns do the math and they count who's there, we might see more because top lane is exposed, mid lane is down. Chachi will go Mega Gnar. Bases got cancelled.
Has still not recalled. Chachi with one of the most effective split pushes we've seen. He's got a Gnar, is going to catch Nukeduck. I don't think the stun connected though. Throws in the house. Chachi is 1v1ing Nukeduck. He's tanky, he's beefy, he's killed by Mr. Rolls. 2v1, not fair, rematch, bro. Steve is now being focused up by Horo. That was a very good cocoon. That's going to keep Horo out of the fight. Sidesteps the javelin toss. That's a flash forward from Horo though. He says, you cannot get past me. Another cocoon connects. Horo, flash away. Roccat, they lost Steve. They lost 2 inhibitors.
I like the play. I like that play that Roccat were trying to. Having the home guards chasing them down, burning 2 flashes. Then some fantastic sidesteps by Nukeduck though. Because he literally dodged everything Chachi was throwing at him. But it wasn't, or it was barely enough. In the end, we're setting up for this Baron. Anticipated. Went a lot quicker than we would have thought, but
yeah,
Unicorns should just wait here. We have 2 lanes with super minions. I think this might be it. This could make for a very exciting closing of the game if they manage to throw the game here.
Baron is getting lower. There's 3 members of Roccat in place. It's secured by the Unicorns of Love. Hillesang is engaged. He's thrown Vander forward, but they've lost Hillesang. Now Power Evil, he's in trouble. The stun connects. Concussive blows. Yankos will get the venomous bite. Evo's human form. Looks for more. Wants to sink in. That's going to be it dead. He smites Vardex where he stands. Horo, however, wants to turn it around. Mr. Rolls has got a lot of damage. He used his blade active, and Chachi says, let's try it again, ladies. Let's try it again. He wants 1 more inhibitor.
Steve's the gatekeeper though, knocks him back, knocks him up.
And he's going to be able to delay it. Chachi is just going to focus the inhib. He may have learned from his misgivings previously. Down to half. If he can dodge it, he can! He crunches! He manages to get a 2-man stun as well. He needs a few more hits. He nods him against the wall. Gets a kill in the process, but he's not hitting the inhib. He does! No! The inhib lives! The inhib survives!
And Horo will probably take it down with one hit, but...
I believe...
Come on, eat this... Oh.
Come on. No, Horo's going to bail out. The inhib survives. And Unicorns...
It's not a game where you can use the cheat code, greed is good. You have to wait, greed is bad. Just wait for your super minions to push in. They get the Baron, but they pseudo get aced almost. Chachi drops in the end, so everybody ends up dying there. Hipter on 1 HP, what a fantastic... And look on, the gold gap is getting smaller and smaller over time.
Crepo. Unicorns of Love lost the previous game despite knocking down every inhibitor, every Nexus turret, and not finding the team fights they need. This is a very different composition that Roccat are running. But could that move be what Tilt is made of?
No, it's too early. You're still in control. I don't think you'll tilt if you have like the entire base open. I mean, I wouldn't tilt, of course. Of course not. No, anybody that's watched my stream knows that I will tilt.
One thing that we do know, we anticipated longer games.
Yeah.
49-minute average game length, meaning in 7 minutes' time, according to averages, we should have a winner. We should have our next semi-finalist.
What I like the most, though, about the way this game has been approached by Roccat is Vardex, for example, full CDR build. He's arrow after arrow after arrow. They're not giving him the time to poke. Steve teleports, home guards, flash engage. Somebody, Braum, connects a stun on Power of Evil, you know, immediately, just all in or bust. And it's working. Rocket's hanging on with, you know, aggression, with risks, but they're paying off for them.
Dragon number 3 will be secured by UOL, uncontested. A lot of items have been picked up, Crepo, including a Thorn Mail for Steve. And we see all of the damage items for both AD carries. 4th item completed for Mr. Ross. Last Whisper to back up the sustain. And the crit from iEdge and Triforce.
And Braum is getting incredibly tanky right now. He has Face of the Mountain and Roccat. Once he pops that, you know, puts up that Vault Door for those skill shots, he can soak up so much damage. In addition, I think he can block the Orianna ball too. Tries to pass him. So I'm not sure if that actually works. I know it works with Yasuo Wind Wall. Not quite sure if that actually works with the Braum multi. I don't think so, actually.
Well, maybe we'll get the opportunity to see it later in the game.
Probably have seen it already, but so much action in this game.
28 kills in 43 minutes. With so much on the line, neither team is playing reserved. And the split push threat of
there's a lone ward in the back.
Has slowed down.
There's a couple lone wards in the back. Steve's in the base with home guards. He's going to attempt to teleport flank. Look for Power of Evil.
Oh, it's right there. Do it, Steve. Do it, Steve.
He's charging up. Crowd, feeding you energy.
Why that ward? Why that ward?
1.
Here comes Steve. Here comes Steve. He does have flash. He's looking for a target. He's in the middle of 4. Cocoon doesn't manage to connect, and the chain of corruption really goes wide. 3-man shockwave.
Look in the mid lane, though.
Play. Steve is still alive. Chachi says, screw the fight. I want the inhib. He's on the middle inhib. He's secured the middle inhib. Now Unicorns are trying to stall Roccat. This could be the game. Chachi is on the top inhib. Horo, 3-man knockout. The pounce, the arrow, the piercing. Unicorns of Love. We're looking for the fight. Horo's gone golden, and now he's gone down. He got smited. Chachi's got a tower. He's looking at the next tower. The rest of Unicorns are moving themselves into the lane. They want the last remaining inhibitor. Chachi got top. UOL are unable to get bottom.
1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits.
Not enough for the stun. Winter's Bite goes wide. Roccat. They lose more inhibs.
That was so close. What Roccat didn't calculate in is that after Righteous Glory gets popped, it's an AoE slow. If they would have waited for Steve to proc that on the entire Unicorn squad, they could have AoE'd them down. Meanwhile, Vander has to flash because of the pressure from Chachi. This was so close to being a completely different game, Trevor.
Unfortunately for Roccat, they are fighting for their lives, tooth and nail. They are still 5,000 gold down at the 45-minute mark. They have more kills than Unicorns of Love. It does not matter because they have very little base to defend and work with.
And the Unicorns may want to invest in a couple extra sweepers because this is not the first time.
Great play from Chachi.
Chachi is doing some parkour with the Krugs. It's not the first time Steve has managed to get the home card flank off, honestly.
And we've seen how impactful Steve's Maokai has been this series. Analyst S talked about how high a priority champion it is for Roccat. He managed to pick it up in the second rotation. Here's that team.
What I want you to watch is what Steve does. He slows them down, but then watch for the AoE slow that comes out of righteous goal. He flashes so he can't get disengaged. Look, everybody's putting their offensive here, but now the entire team is slowed. If only they waited a little longer for that slow to come out and just didn't channel their abilities so soon. That could have been such a different fight, but in the end, I wouldn't even think about that until I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, I just go he slows. Fantastic, maybe we should think about it in the future, but 3-man combo ironically loses them the fight because Vander goes in here with that shield. Horo somehow has the Sonias already. Vander gets a shutdown and yeah, backdoor happens, but they lose one Nexus tower, but that's okay at this point.
There are
Get your inhibitors back.
4 damage sources on the side of Unicorns. Chachi's pretty tanky, over 3,000 HP before Mega Gnar form. But Void Staff, Rod of Ages, Runeglaive, Hourglass. And that's the jungler I'm talking about.
There's 830 AP on Power of Evil. There's 506 ability power on Horo.
Roccat, defense of the Alamo. Have to dig deep once more.
Steve doesn't have that home guard CP at his disposal. It's a bit slower. It's not that speedy tree that we usually see. Blocking the arrow by Vander. Good. Deny the poke. Chachi's teaming up on the Nexus tower. It's obviously easier to defend one tower because you get closer to it. Half HP inhibitor
is palpable, Crepo. 50% down. Unicorns looking for an... Look at how many traps there are. It's just litter at this point, Horo. Not able to find a javelin toss, but every time he moves in, 1, 2 more hits. Glacial Fissure used defensively.
Engages.
It's too early, Vander. You needed to hold on to that. The Cocoon, insta-cleanse from Power of Evil. He's backed his way out. Illisight's caught in. Chain of Corruption's going to start to spread. Inhibitor still standing. The Nexus turret's falling. Super minions are onto the Nexus. Vander's lost his life. Steve forced to retreat. Mr. Rolls is looking for some pressure on Chachi.
And there's down.
Now we need to see what can Power of Evil do. Crowd wants UOL to close it out.
There's 1 siege creep, 2 siege creeps. Chachi is there. Valdex is poking. Half mana. Power Reveal still fully alive. Hylissang. No ultimate available. Steve.
That's a flash engage! They've got Mr. Rolls. He's got the QSS though. He manages to get away. Mega Gnar will be coming out. There's a Chachi's gonna go Mega Gnar. That minion really needed to die according to Steve. Nexus is being focused. There are banner empowered minions. There are super minions.
3-man combo!
That's a 3-man roar! Chachi's done it! The Unicorns of Love are onto the Nexus! The Unicorns of Love are going to Sweden, and they are going to face Fnatic!
And we were talking about it, the first 2 games, Roccat, they went down. Preparation didn't work. They came back into this series. And what a series it was in the end. You can talk about how clean games have to be and how this may not have been the most strategical game, but I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed this. And Horo has made a fantastic impact on this Unicorns of Love roster. This is a different UOL than we saw 2 weeks ago.
And Horo giving some love to Mr. Rolls, former teammate, in fact, on the stage, knocking Roccat out of the playoffs. Unicorns of Love will advance to the semifinals. Jankos, despite all the work, despite all the good plays, unfortunately, games 1 and 2, it was too much damage.
And somehow it works. These slow scaling compositions that we faulted the Unicorns of so many times, they managed to get it going this game because Horo was buying them time. But looking forward, can he buy enough time against Fnatic? Because he's going up against Reignover in the jungle, and Reignover punishes you incredibly hard. It'll be harder to take Huni down to 0-3. But still, that is a little too early to look at.
Yeah.
Let's just compliment the Unicorns on incredible tenacity in this series.
Oh, yes. To bounce back from an hour defeat with, what, 3 Barons?
After being 2-0 up, that is the best thing too. You know, you go 2-0 up, you have them, you know, all mapped out. Suddenly they react, you lose. They react even better, you lose again. And then you start wondering, you start questioning your bans, your picks, but they, as far as I know, they change up that one crucial ban, and yeah, it worked out. Savoring Kalista off the board. The Varus flex came out. Both coaches saying, yeah, if only. Yeah, I know.
So close. So close, but so far. And that, of course, means Unicorns of Love will be advancing. It also means Roccat will be set up for a rematch with Giants in the regional qualifier once all of playoffs wrap up. But before we get to that, we do have to head to Pulse on stage, who's talking to Unicorns of Love, PoE, and Chachi.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. Now, I'm with the Unicorns of Love here, Power of Evil and Chachi. It wouldn't be a best of 5 without it going to 5th game for the Unicorns. Now, we saw this in spring as well when you had like an average split, you came into playoffs and you just blew everyone away. Why are you so much better in those best of 5s?
Well, so I think we have a really huge champion pool, so in playoffs we can try out stuff, as example, the Varus AD carry. You can just take the risk instead of best of 1s, where normally every win counts. So I think in best of 5 you have more diversity of going for some picks.
Okay, well, I actually want to follow up on diversity because we saw the victor from specifically you, Power of Evil. We haven't seen that through the entire split. Were you holding that back? Were you holding that to the chest and now bring it out now?
So since 1 week or 1.5, I started practicing it more and trying to pick it up in my champion pool because it's like really good mid laner, and I actually like these control mages. At the start I didn't think he's my style, but yeah, he's actually, and I had fun.
Okay, so I need to follow up on Kalista as well because we saw this in the match. I actually want to aim this at you, Chachi, because we saw you guys move away from it, and then you were actually really thinking about it in one of those games, and then moved away from it. Why exactly was that?
We actually changed our plan for the 5th game to like ban out the Kalista because we felt like it was a major force in their 3rd and 4th game. And we felt like we could risk leaving the Janna open because then we can get a poke-heavy style as well, or something like that, with fit pushing, and we can break them that way as well. So majorly that. We didn't want to face Kalista anymore in the 5th game.
Yeah, well, it definitely worked out in the end game. So moving forwards now, you're going to be facing Fnatic in a best of 5. How do you think that matchup's going to go? They're still undefeated. Are the Unicorns going to be the ones to upset them this time around in summer?
It will be definitely closer than our last game against them because it's going to be a best of 5 series, and there's a lot of preparation coming into the matches. For our last game, we prepared not that much, and we can specifically prepare for them for the next week. So I think it will be a closer series, and I think we will take at least 1 game off of them.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Congratulations once again on the win today, gentlemen. We're going to shoot it over to the Alistair to take a look at that amazing series.
Thank you so much, Pulse. We're just going to talk a little bit more about that series. And remember that the NALCS is coming up in just a little bit with Gravity versus TSM. Hold tight. We do have to wrap up this series because it was an amazing series. Started off very, very active, then a little slump in game 4, maybe, that the teams were both scared. And then what did it come down to in this game? Let's look at the picks and bans quickly and talk over the adaptations. Of course, we talked a lot about the Kalista, the Maokai.
I think the mind game started, though, with the Varus. We sat here, as soon as it got locked in, we were talking, like, why on earth would you pick your mid laner there? We kind of were thinking, you know, it's likely to drop down to the AD carry. It looked like Roccat read that. Unicorns, I think, were trying to bait Roccat into a Yasuo setup and then had something in the bag and ended up very quickly changing their strategy. You heard Vizichachi actually talking about how they changed their strategy for Game 5 as well.
Right, but even though it's going to be like a untraditional AD carry, it fits the style of Vardax in this team. Again, it adds a lot of utility. He's not going to be the main carry, so I like that adaptation for Unicorns of Love. But also, I mean, look at just the pick and ban here. I quite liked what Roccat brought to the table. They got the Maokai pick, which I felt was so important for Steve. You had the same mid-game spike with double Trinity Force on both Nuke Dog and Mr. Rales. But there were just some very key mistakes in the game here that Unicorns punished him for. Like, again, we have the lane swap going on, where instead of Vander staying with Steve in the bottom lane to just defend under this tower here, and basically it's so difficult to dive those two guys with the, obviously the Braum passive, Maokai getting a few levels, he invades into his own jungle to start a fight, which leaves Steve on his own. So there's an opening now for 4 members to kill him. And that gives a few early kills over to Unicorns. And that kind of starts the whole snowball, which became a big, big problem.
But that snowball got expanded at the Baron. You know, from the Baron, what it allowed the Unicorns to do is get the Orianna rolling. Let that power dip that normally is there just get completely expanded on. So, you know, Orianna on 3 items already was around 700 AP. So that allowed them to get towards that late game scaling.
I just want to super quick talk about this Orianna build because because I
Sure
really...
it's gonna be quick?
I really... No, it's not going to be quick. It's probably going to take a while. But anyway, I really like the build because what he did, so you go Athenes first. Normally, he's like to go tier first, but it makes you way too weak in the early stages. You have no impact. So he goes Athenes, and then because they pick up this Baron here, what you can do is you can get tier and then early Seraph as well because he gives higher base amount of AP compared to before. So he used that and the Baron buff to stack it up super fast, reach a late game point where he was insanely strong, and it was beautiful because his Shockwave in the mid lane was part of also really turning this in favor of Unicorn.
Yeah, and at the end of the day in a 5th game set, you saw as well, okay, good decision making by the Dragons. UOL at one point peeling off of the Dragon, that early Baron. It is an evolution, and they held it together in this game 5. Heartbreaking for Roccat, though. We also want to crown an MVP in today's set, and we really saw one player go huge to bring their team to the semis, making the clutch engages all day long. I don't know why. To bring the Unicorns to victory, our player of the series is a support. Hylissang, you could have said, okay, Vizcachi in this last game, Power of Evil did really well, but he was really the catalyst in a lot of these games.
Especially the first 2 games.
Yeah.
We remember all the way back. The roam at the beginning of the first game completely set the pace for Hylissang. That was what we expected from him from spring. Didn't see it all that much in summer. Looks like a tentative return to form, but I'm not going to sign that check quite yet.
But he really needs to keep the high level going.
Yes.
He wants to beat out Yellow Star in a week, because that's going to be the big thing now for Unicorns of Love. Again, you made it to the top 4. That's huge, especially in terms of going to Worlds, to championship points and everything. But Fnatic are waiting.
Fnatic are waiting, so let's take a look at the bracket because the quarterfinals here are done in the European LCS. So let's check that out. Fnatic, of course, and Unicorns of Love are semifinal in Origin versus H2K. Very important in here is also the championship points, because the UOL with this, they stay on par with H2K, ahead of them even.
Yes, they stay on par, and the really interesting thing now is if the highest seeded teams in the semis win, that being Fnatic and Origin, it would set us up for a potential 3rd place game with Worlds implications, because that is the battle for the highest point. So unless some, unorthodox things happen, we obviously have to play the semis.
Origin H2K is going to be really
right.
Yeah.
There's so many hype matches, but that would be a real barn burner of a game.
Yeah, and that brings us to the next step on the journey to Worlds 2015. The European LCS semifinals are going to kick off next Saturday at 5 p.m. Central European Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. Origin will take on H2K as our first semifinal. It'll be followed by the NALCS semis, where CLG will face Team Impulse over in LA. So a lot to go there. Very exciting. And we'll stress Wednesday, there's also something on stake.
There's a little thing on stake on Wednesday, and that is the automatic promotion spot for, the LCS spring split for 2016. So it will be the Challenger Series finals. We'll have Mouse Sports taking on Team Dignitas EU. That'll be live from the LCS studio itself. So I'm really hyped for these 2 teams to meet it. There's the potential for an upset. Mouse upset gamers too. Now we'll see if they can do it against Team Dignitas.
Yeah, we'll all be here to cover the action.
Yeah,
you good?
all of us
all right.
will be on the analyst desk. It's going to be great.
Anyway, that's it. The first round of the summer playoffs wrapped up here in Berlin, and we're finally going to hand it over to Dash and the gang in North America for their second playoff quarterfinal match between Gravity and Team Solomid. Stay tuned. On behalf of myself and everyone here at the European LCS, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you a little further down the road to the summer finals.
Teams have locked in their champions. It's time to load up the best of 5 between Unicorns of Love and Roccat. One more to attack. Red buff is ticking. That's he's coming in. First blood secured. He's going to be able to pick up a kill onto Power of Evil. Vardax is getting focused out. The mine knocks him up in the air, and the fangs get sunk in from Yankos. Dredgeline, it connects on Newton. Hylissang, he stuns up Roccat. The Chaos Storm is out. Power of Evil is running right through the back line. Newton's going to get turned into an egg, but he's going to get cooked for breakfast. Power of Evil, when he carries hard.
Power, let's one-on-one.
No.
I play my Lucian. I need to warm my mechanics up. Invite me.
I will 1v1 you.
But I want to go to the game.
Someone invite, please.
I said I will 1v1 you. Are you scared?
Invite? No.
Because you didn't say yes. You were
I'm
like...
more scared of Power of Evil, not of you.
Look at the ward. It's behind Unicorns. Here comes Steve, and he's got cookies. Vardax is in trouble as Yankos takes him out, and that pulverize hit nothing. Yankos, he finds the cocoon onto Power of Evil, and we see the arcade smash coming for the kill. The Unicorns of Love are going 2-0 in this best of 5.
They prepare cheese, I prepare ham. So you could say this best of 5 is a sandwich, but I think Unicorns of Love is gonna go home hungry.
Either way, they'll go ham or they go home. So let's see.
Mr. Rolls gets bounced around before he gets bopped on the head and taken down. Gets a knock-up onto Nukeduck. Nukeduck's flashed away, but he gets followed. Chachi follows him over the wall. Roccat keep their semi-final hopes alive. One match away for Unicorns to book that trip to Stockholm. The hop, the crunch, wow, he goes way wide, gets the Gnar against the wall, all of Unicorns follow. Mr. Rolls has got a kill, Power of Evil may go down, Steve gets us, Power of Evil's down, Horo's down as well. One more battle to determine the next semi-finalist. Who will advance to the semi-finals and to Stockholm, Sweden?
They know when to bite. Flash
But
Cocoon.
Flash Cocoon, Vortex will fall. Super minions. That's a 3-man roar! Chachi's done it! The Unicorns of Love are on to the Nexus! The Unicorns of Love are going to Sweden, and they are going to face Fnatic